Welcome to the Advancement Podcast. Our mission is to reach the lost in America by advancing leaders and churches so that communities are transformed. Join us as we discuss how to stay healthy as leaders, work in teams, and lead change. Come on, let's advance together.
Welcome back to the Advancement Podcast. Hey, if you enjoy what you're listening to, if you could click subscribe wherever you're listening to. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, click subscribe as well. That way the content comes to you every Tuesday and Thursday. Well, every Tuesday and Thursday that Tim computer did not crash. And
after we're back after
back.
weeks of having lost the data and not having access to our podcast.
Tim had a MacBook from 1999.
They didn't
now,
make the MacBook in 99.
And they actually did. But I think they did. Now he has a 2020 MacBook Pro.
My first ever brand new MacBook.
Bala Shakala, right?
What?
My name is, you don't know that song?
No, I don't.
Okay. My name is Todd Barham. I am the host of the Advancement Podcast here, as always, with my friend who I haven't seen in like 3 weeks, which is weird.
Yes, it has been weird.
Timothy Dominic Ware. How you doing, Tim? You know, my wife always gives me grief. She said, "Why do you call yourself the host? Tim is the host."
So we had this discussion once on here.
I know, and
it's okay. Just let it go.
Okay,
let it go.
I told her, I said, "Babe,
let it go."
That's what Tim calls me, so that's what I introduce myself.
That's right.
So Tim, how you loving your new computer? Is it doing good?
It's good.
They missed us, I think.
It's good. You know, okay. So since we were together last time, I've interacted with some listeners when I was out in the field. Out and about, and I had one guy. He said, "Man, I listen to your podcast." He cleans pools for a living.
Okay.
He said, "I'm always listening to podcasts. I listen to yours all the time." And I said, "That's awesome." And I said, "So what do you think?" He said, "I love what you're doing. I love the practical stuff." And I
practical.
And I know that. I knew you'd love that.
Yeah, I love it.
And I said, "What else?" And I said, what talk to me about it. And he kind of said, sometimes y'all's little banner just goes on. He said, sometimes it's funny, but it goes on a little too long. I just get to the stuff.
Get to the stuff. Okay. Whoever you are, banter over. So what are we talking about today, Tim?
Well, this episode will publish the week of Thanksgiving. So what we're going to do with this, this is actually going to be the last one that we record for 2020.
Sad day.
Because we're doing for 2020, we're actually with the Tuesday, Thursday regiment. We're not going to do anything on Thanksgiving Day. We're just taking that day off.
Have a good day.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hang out with your family. You don't need to be listening to a
That's
podcast.
right. Eat some turkey.
Yeah. Well, I love Thanksgiving because of football, but
I'm going to eat turkey. I'm frying turkeys that day. Anyway.
We're doing steaks. We don't like turkey.
I'll do steak. Anyway.
Okay.
So we're doing,
top 10.
But after that, for the month of December, we're not going to release any new episodes. We're going to be re-releasing our top 10 for the year.
Top 10.
With some commentary before and maybe after, who knows, from Todd and I as we head into those episodes. But we'll be doing that. But today, coming into Thanksgiving week, I felt like we ought to talk about creating a culture of gratefulness, or a culture of Thanksgiving, maybe a better word for the season.
Yeah.
A culture of
come into his presence with Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna talk about practical ways to create a culture of Thanksgiving in your organization or in your church. So
do you think that it's hard for pastors to create a culture of thankfulness because they just get so beat up from all the battle weariness of the battle, and great thankfulness is they just don't have it to muster? Because I mean, honestly, let's face it, we don't really get much thankfulness unless our church is very good at that. We don't get much thankfulness from our congregation. So do you think that's tough for us to dish out?
Okay, let's just back up and say that.
Okay, back up.
People being thankful is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
and we don't teach that very well in our society.
No.
I'm not sure it's taught across most societies. We're in historically you would hear people talking about honor rather than gratefulness.
Right.
Um, and so I think this is part of what you're seeing is, pastors, they often we don't say thank you, and people don't say thank you. But how often do you say thank you to your boss? I mean, we're very good. We've become very good about saying thank you to veterans.
Yeah.
We say we're going to honor them, and we say thank you to them.
The NFL has even monetized that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. They do the I forget what they call it, but every year they do in November they do where they honor the vets. And
oh, that's right, because of Patrick.
Yeah. But did you know that I found out that the branches give them a little bit of money for that, and they sell merch like out the wazoo for it, because they make all this camo military looking stuff with the team's logo on it that they get
okay.
So yeah.
Well,
as a military brat, that makes me angry, but it's fine.
Well, because you do, but you understand that there's that gratitude is a learned behavior. We have to teach our kids. Remember, our kids don't naturally. We say, tell them when they're little. You got say thank you. Tell them thank you.
Yeah.
Did you tell Mr. Todd thank you?
I'll hold my juice. I'll hold the kids' juice and hold it, and they put their hand on it, and I say, thank you. Thank you. And I won't release it until they say thank you.
It's not natural for us. Pride.
Gimme.
Pride is natural. Selfishness is natural. So this is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
Truth is, selfishness is a result of the fall. So when I say you even said it, you said for those churches that don't do it well, do pastors, the only reason they do it well is because it's been cultivated in them.
Well, sure. Yeah. Well, and I also wanted to give a caveat and not say that all churches don't do thankfulness well, because that's not true.
But we have to create. I don't care if you're in a business, what you're in. You have to create cultivate a culture of thankfulness.
Yeah,
and
say that 3 times fast.
Yeah,
cultivate a culture of thankfulness.
Teach people to be grateful.
Yeah,
it really is something that originally this is the holiday of Thanksgiving was supposed to be about giving thanks.
Yeah.
It really is about football and eating together.
What else should it be about?
Well, maybe what it was intended.
Thankfulness.
Maybe what it was intended. So
stealing Indians' land. That was what it was.
Actually, at that time they were the first one. They were eating with they hadn't stolen it yet.
Yeah, they
were sharing it.
Yeah, but
it didn't last long.
Yeah, but they were sharing the land that wasn't theirs to share to begin with.
Well,
it's fine. We're not talking about
it. We'll move on past the political thing.
This is not a history podcast.
Could be, but we're not. So let's talk about the fact that, number one, when you're going to Thanksgiving starts, it begins with the leaders.
Yeah,
it begins in the leaders. So if leaders, and if I'll tell you that I really encountered this about a decade ago, because I was not good at saying thank you. I've struggled with it and it wasn't that I wasn't thankful. It was that I just had so much to do, and part of you did it. It's your job.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you thank you for doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't have to, but you do.
But we do, because it is a matter of people.
Yeah.
Or what is the eternal thing. So
I have someone on my staff, and they don't listen to the podcast, so I'll mention them. I won't mention them by name, but they say the same thing that you said. We should not have to thank them for doing their job. And I tell them all the time, yeah, they should do their job because we pay them to do their job, but they should also know that we appreciate them.
And so if we don't show those appreciation moments, and appreciation comes in a lot of different ways, but let's just start with this first pass at being grateful, at being thankful. If it begins in the leaders, something that shifted this in my heart, I read a book called The Ultimate Gift.
You have a lot of shifts in your heart, Tim. I'm just saying.
Over the years. Well, if there aren't shifts, then that means God's not changing me.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing shifts in your heart, Todd, then you're stagnant, sir.
Yeah. I have a shift in my heart a lot.
Okay.
Not as much as a shift in my bowels, but it's fine.
Man, it has been a while. You've been saving up.
I've been saving it all up, man.
So
been saving all my love.
Oh my gosh. So gratitude.
Okay.
I read this book by Stovall called The Ultimate Gift. It's a parable kind of book.
Okay.
It's a fiction book. And they made a movie of it that was a horrible. It's not a good movie.
Is it on PureFlix?
I don't know. It was not a good movie.
PureFlix kills me, man.
But
I love PureFlix because I'm just kidding.
We're just pushing right by old Todd's manicness today.
My wife watches all these love stories of Amish people on PureFlix.
So in the book, there's a he calls it his golden list. He talks about the golden list, and the golden list is get up every day, and in the story he said when he would wake up, the first thing he would do before he got out of bed is he would go through his list and he would list 10 things that he was thankful for.
Okay.
And for years you could find in my I started that practice, and in my journal, with my devotional journal, I would have a list of 10 things. You made it on the list a lot of times. I'm thankful for Todd.
Oh,
I'm thankful.
It's so sweet.
And there were some days where it was not easy.
There's some days where I didn't make the list.
And there's some
like today.
I was amazed at how many times people ended up on my list over the years. But the point is I had to create that in me. So as I began to do that, so this is a tool, a practical tool, practical Todd. That
I'm happy you're finally getting practical on this.
That
podcast.
People could, that you could go through and create a golden list. And I challenge leaders, if you struggle with saying thank you enough, or if you have leaders that aren't, then you can ask them to let's do this together and your golden list.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it this year. I've taken the year off, but of writing it down. Rachel actually asked me about it the other day. She said, "Are you still doing your thankfulness list?" And I said, "I'm not doing it in this season." But I use that to create in me an opportunity to always be thankful. So I start the day with gratitude by making this list of 10 things. And sometimes it's thankful for my breath. Sometimes it's man, it's cold outside. I'm thankful for these blankets. I'm thankful for the heater in the house or the fireplace. Thankful for the view. Thankful for the birds outside. It was amazing, the different things. Sometimes they were very deep and spiritual. Sometimes they may have been superficial, but it just began to cultivate in me personally a thing to say, well, to be thankful.
Yeah.
So number one, I think it has to begin the leaders, and this is a great tool that you can use to do that. And if you're not personally thankful, then you will never create a culture that's thankful.
Yeah.
Or grateful, whatever term you want to use. Continuing down that thread of this is what it had to happen in me first, is I think when we go back to the model prayer of Jesus, he says, how does the model prayer go, Todd, Pastor Todd? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thank you.
Let's take a moment and hear a word about advancement.
This is Brian Hyatt, lead pastor at Cornerstone Church in Rowlett, Texas. I'm so thankful for the relationship that I have with Tim and the entire advancement team. Tim has invested in Cornerstone and myself, and we have seen tremendous results. Our attendance and giving are up 20 to 25% since we implemented the key strategies that he brought. Advancement has also helped us develop leaders so we have a more balanced team approach to ministry. For more information, please go to www.advancement.cc. You won't regret it.
Now let's get back to the podcast.
We do the whole thing.
So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Begins with thankfulness.
It begins with thankfulness. Now this is a personal thing. I try to also pray that way. So my kids have picked it up. When I started recognizing when we'd ask the kids to pray for meals or pray whatever, they always say, Father, I thank you that you are this, or that you've done this, that, thank you for this. It's that it is a real thing that we be thankful, and that we thank not just each other, but we thank the Lord. So this is about two things. What am I thankful for, and who am I thankful to?
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for the Lord to the Lord first for what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have that gratitude, now it's easy for me to say thank
Yeah.
you to Todd for being on the episode,
Yeah.
for being the host of the Advancement Podcast.
See, you heard it, Crystal.
Thank you for being
even though you don't listen. She just listens to the intros. That's the only reason why you call yourself the host? You're not the host.
Anyway.
Whatever, babe. Hey, so let me ask you a question. And this is kind of a working theory of mine. So it's my working theory. So don't shoot the messenger.
yeah, Mike.
You know what I mean. I'm talking to our listeners, not to you. I know you're going to shoot me. I kind of have a working theory that with your staff and the people that you lead, or in a business, if the people that work for you, they'll almost put up with just about anything if they know that you appreciate them.
That is an absolute truth. People long to be appreciated. It's built into us. So,
I mean, they'll even put up with you giving them the most stupid task on the planet if you tell them that you love and appreciate them.
So I sent an email this morning to the accountant at the church we're working with, where we're doing the interim at right now, and because with some billing stuff, and some receipts, and I said, and I ended the email with, I appreciate, thanks for what you do. When I send to anybody where I'm emailing, even if I'm emailing invoices or whatever, I almost always say, I appreciate all that you do.
Yeah.
Because, here, when you're emailing invoices, you're not getting to the leader, you're giving it you're always sending those to the lower level people. And so I always say, well, I appreciate what you do. Thanks for all you do. I even have in my text messages.
Yeah, I get invoices, but I don't actually read them. I just forward them. Is that bad? Is that bad?
I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to let it go.
Well, I forward it on to the person that pays them.
That's true.
I don't pay them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to find.
I tithe, but that's about I tithe my portion that I'm supposed to, the non-portion that doesn't go to the North Texas District of the Assemblies of God.
Anyway, I'm trying to find a text that I sent this week.
I was trying to kill time because you're on your phone trying to figure out.
So I texted a group of leaders, and I put at the end, thanks for all you do.
Yeah.
We have to to have a culture of Thanksgiving. We have to enter in as the leaders into a habit of saying thank you. Yeah. Now there's a time for public thank you, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about one-on-one individual, just saying thank you. When I meet my team, hey guys, thanks for giving your time today. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're working with volunteers, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. At the end, thank you for your hard work. There were, in the early days, and there's still times I put in my notes, say thank you, because I want the culture of gratitude. Thank you for all you do. So Thanksgiving is an intentional choice. Mm-hmm. And until you've created a habit, it doesn't just flow out. Now we say thank you when something big happens, but to say thank you, Rachel was, she's working at a junior high school right now, and she was walking down the hall, and one of the principals said to her, passed her by and then turned and said, he said, you know, I'm just not good at saying thank you.
Yeah.
Most people are not good at it. And most bosses are not good at it.
Right.
Because we have the assumption that you just need to do it because that's what you're paid to do. So to say that, so let me ask you, Mr. Pastor Todd, how do you appreciate your staff?
Many different ways. You know, obviously I say thank you to them and I text thank you. I try to, anytime they do anything for me, even if it's their job, I try to say thank you when they do it. But creative things I try to do, I listen to them. So, you know, we'll be talking or something and they'll tell me, you know what, I love this pair of shoes, or I really like this, or this is my favorite restaurant. So when it comes time for their birthday, I give them a gift of something, not just like, not an Amazon gift card. Like I get them a gift of something they told me that they like, so that they know I listened to them.
Oh, I'm not good at that.
And
I'm
I
so
value
bad.
them.
I'm
Yeah.
such a bad gift person.
Yeah. And so it's not absolute. Sometimes I just give them an Amazon gift card. But I will listen to them, and like anytime, like, you know me, I'm a clothes and shoes person.
Yes, you are.
And if any of my staff says that they like something that I'm wearing,
you get them one.
I'll take a note. And when it's time for me to appreciate them, I'll get them what they like that I wore. Now, that has become problematic because then we end up wearing the same thing on the same day, which is funny, but I mean, it's fine.
Twinkies.
Yeah. And yeah, now a couple of my staff, I'll text them, hey, I'm wearing this today, and just warn them. So they make that choice. But you know, just listening to them, knowing their favorite restaurant. You know, a lot of my staff love Starbucks. You know, oddly enough,
y'all are a coffeeholic group, though.
Yeah, we are. But oddly enough, most of my staff, their favorite place to eat is Texas Roadhouse. Like they all love Texas Roadhouse, which is weird. I mean, it's a good place.
I was gonna say that. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just they all love Texas Roadhouse. So, you know, I'll always get them a Texas Roadhouse gift card or something like that.
So the next thing is when those things start, have your staff pick that up, and are they doing the same thing now to those that follow them?
I'm trying to teach them well, they did really, really good this pastor appreciation. They did really good. I don't know who spurred it on. I don't know who did it. I have a hunch as to who did it.
No, not back to you, but are they saying thank you downhill, not coming back to you saying thank you? They if it's a cultural thing, then it's flowing all the way, not just in the relationship.
I hope so. I'm still working on it.
So that's the question.
I'm trying to teach them to be thankful down. I tell them to. I don't know. That one's harder to quantify because you really kind of have to do a little bit more snooping than you. Really.
So how do we do that? So what we do is we sit in their meetings, and it's their meeting. We're not in charge.
Yeah.
As a leader, we make sure that this is their meeting. So we let them have the floor. We let them lead. And if they're not, if they don't give those thank you moments, then we just say, hey guys, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
We have to we show them, and then then it's a coaching. We create a coaching moment to say, you got to tell them thank you.
Yeah.
You got to be appreciative. Appreciate the people. So we have to teach our leaders just like we have to teach our children.
Yeah.
All right. You know, how do you do that? Another practical thing that you do is when they're getting ready to finish something up, say, okay, what are you going to do what are you going to do to say thank you to your team?
Right.
If you put a team together for an outreach, what are you going to do to say thank you to your team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, we're coming up on the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always, we buy gifts for our board members to say thank you. There are many organizations. If you look at a lot of your charitable organizations, they will send out donor gifts.
Mm-hmm.
To anybody that was a donor, and if you're a donor of this level, then you get a little more of a gift. So they do. Some people do donor gifts in the nonprofit world.
Okay.
I mean, obviously in a church you can't necessarily do that, but it's a
Yeah, I
great
was about
time
to say,
to
my
honor.
donors would kill me if I did that.
Yeah, but it's different. But I mean, you still. So there's these are all private thank yous.
Yeah.
Or semi-private if they're in a meeting.
Well, I mean, I send out monthly giving emails that tell them what they're doing and how they're making a difference and thanking them for all they're doing. So I mean it's a monthly they're used to getting. Now I don't know how many people read them, but I take the time to do it. And then, it's getting better in my place, but it's takes some intentionality on my part.
That's the word right there, to create a culture of gratitude. We've talked, this is leaders, leaders being thankful as a person. Then it's actually doing it, saying thank you to your staff and teaching your staff. It's all about intentionality, because gratitude is a choice. It's not natural to us.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude is a choice. So choose to be thankful.
Yeah. Yeah. It is definitely not natural. I say it over and over and over again. Our natural bent, like you said, is to be selfish. We want to worry about ourselves. And, the problem is we expect people to be thankful for us, but we don't want to be thankful because they should just do their job, because it's just that never ending cycle. We expect more of other people than we're willing to give ourselves.
And that's always the way it is. I mean, that's the trap of pride in humanity. So, okay. So the next thing we have to look at, though, is that when you're really wrestling with this, is there is space for a public thank you.
Yeah.
You can't say thank you to everybody for everything.
Right.
I mean, on Sunday morning as a pastor, you can say thank you for being here. Then that's the moment we thank everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with periodically. You probably don't want to do it every week, but as you're coming to preach, say thank you to the worship team. Didn't they do a good job? Let's show our gratitude. To those kinds of things. Those should be regularly regimented in. But who do you say thank you to? This is kind of an honor piece where we want to honor and say thank you for behaviors that represent Jesus and that represent the culture of reaching the harvest, the culture of our church.
Yeah.
So we want to, when we say a public thank you to somebody, then we want to make sure that it represents the values that we're moving our church toward.
Yeah. Yeah. The couple times I thanked people publicly was for staff members that stepped down and did it the right way and left us in a good place. I said to the congregation, they gave us time to find somebody else, and they stuck it out and did a great job the entire time. They knew that they were on the way out. And then I also thank some lay volunteers that helped in some transition. I thank them publicly as well. So yeah, anytime you get a public thank you in front of the church, it's because you stepped up and went over and above what you should be doing already.
Right. But the key is we thank them for what they've done that represent our values, that represent who we are as a people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's we have so many instances of people that didn't do it the right way that, I always take every opportunity to elevate the people that did it the right way, even though they're leaving, and moving on to something else. But doing it the right way it's lost in our culture.
Well, and that's why this becomes so important, that we say thank you. And here's the other thing that the reason that I go all the way back to where we started is why does it have to start actually in the leader? Yeah. Because I can do it as a habit because I know it's important for me as a leader to do it, but it can still be a little hollow.
Yeah.
Do I mean it? That's, for me, I knew I had to do it. When I started working on it personally in me, and I'll be honest, the golden list was a huge shift for me, and began praying, thank you, Lord. I want to make sure that I thank you, making that a habit. Then it got into, that's why I say it was a shift in my heart, because I don't want them to be hollow.
Mhm.
Because a hollow thank you, people also know.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I really felt thanked
Yeah.
by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when we do it, a culture of gratitude, a culture of thankfulness will actually have a genuineness to it.
Yeah.
So it's not just we're doing it because we're supposed to, but we're doing it because we want to.
Yeah.
And that is why it has to be a personal choice, and it has to begin in the leader. And that's why we have to train our leaders to do it for the right reasons and in the right way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
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 Or as my 3-year-old says, whoop. He can't say yep, so he says whoop.
I'm not even. I don't even know what to do with that. All right. So what's your takeaway from this?
Hey, so since this is my time, I'm going to be intentional, and thanks, Tim, for a great year of 2020 on the podcast.
First year together.
Thank you for listening. You know, we wouldn't do this if it wasn't for you. And you know, thank you for all that you do. And you can say thank you to us by spreading the podcast.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
Yep.
And it's been fun. It's been a fun year. I didn't expect in 2020 we'd be doing what we were doing.
No, nobody did.
You know, a quarantine series.
Woo!
But you know, I think the quarantine helped us spread the podcast. And
yep,
it was a good thing, and for us at least. And
yep,
2021 has some awesome things for advancement.
Yep.
So watch out for it.
Watch out. We'll see you next time
on
the Advancement Podcast.
If you would like to keep this content coming, all Tim and Todd ask is $1 per show. See how to give, maybe even sponsor an episode or series on the website advancement.cc. Until next week, continue to advance the mission of Jesus.